Great. Now. So, Lynn, would you tell me
The eagle's going to take a bruising, is it?
What?
You don't know who I am?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, my name is Lynn Ruane.
Yeah.
I'm from Tallaght.
Yeah.
I'm a senator. I'm on the Trinity panel, so I was voted in by Trinity graduates.
Yeah.
We've something in common, so my name is Ruane, which is Mayo, like Tiernan.
Like the Tiernans, yeah.
And my only Tommy Tiernan story is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you had a relation on the same ward as my dad was many years ago in Tallaght Hospital.
In the psychiatric?
Basically. No, I don't know whether it was an uncle or a father-in-law or something. But he used to come into the ward to visit somebody, and my dad had dementia. And I remember saying, "There's Tommy Tiernan." And my dad used to say, "I have dementia, but I'm not stupid. That is not Tommy Tiernan." But it most definitely was.
My father-in-law had a stroke and was in Tallaght for a while.
There you go.
That's right. Wow. So you're a senator?
I am.
How did you end up being a senator?
Well, I worked in the community sector for a long time in addiction, developed addiction programmes since about 17. I left school fairly young and started in community education.
Sorry, a second. You started developing addiction programmes when you were 17?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Because I left school at 15 and I'd done a 2-year course in Oncasan. I became a mother at 15. And me and my daughter attended Oncasan, which was developed by Catherine Sapone and Louise Gilligan. It was like a community education project in Tallaght, which is still going strong.
Okay.
And they had childcare. So I was able to go and re-enter education as a young mother and have my daughter with me. So from there, I went and I done
15, like?
Yeah, 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's I was 24 when I had my first child, and I kind of feel as if, we kind of, not that we grew up together, but I matured so much.
Well, me and Jordan definitely grew up together.
Really? 15?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I done addiction studies course.
Hang on, no, did you tell your parents that you were pregnant?
Straight away.
Straight away?
Straight away. I'm not good with secrets, I'm not good with lying, or, when something's up against me, I kind of don't dodge it. I kind of just go full force at it and... I won't disagree.
I didn't say it though, did I? I didn't say it. Sorry.
You didn't have to.
Didn't have to.
Nah, don't mind him. I didn't do anything.
So you gave birth at age 15?
Yeah.
I'm stunned by that. Genuinely, I think that's such a... Would there ever a thought of not bringing up the baby yourself or anything like that? Were you...
No, there wasn't. I had two very supportive parents, and obviously it wasn't ideal for them at the time.
Yeah.
But they, like they did with every stage of my life, they wrapped their supports around me, and it made it much easier. And I had a wide circle of friends and lots of family, and on the father's side as well, who all helped.
Great.
So I wasn't alone, you know. And obviously there's lots of young mothers that wouldn't have been in that same situation, and I'm always very conscious of them. But I was lucky enough to have the support there.
Wow. So then you're back in the education system?
Yeah.
So you're there for 2 years?
I was in Oncasan for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I done an addiction studies programme in IT Tallaght. It was one evening a week. I grew up in Tallaght.
Why did you choose addiction studies?
Because I grew up in Kilnarden, and I suppose if I got pregnant and re-entered education, but before that, it would have been very hit and miss whether I would have ended up in addiction myself. I would have been recreationally using drugs since a very young age. My friends had all began heroin just as I kind of got pregnant and started in Oncasan. Yeah. So I felt that it was very, it could have gone either way for me. Yeah. So I felt that I wasn't living the life of using drugs, but I cared so much about my community and my friends that I wanted to find a way that I could, I suppose, support and help and empower people within my own community to kind of look at addiction and look at heroin use and how we can challenge that.
And even though you're only like a child yourself and you have like a 2-year-old baby, you're inspired to do that.
I was inspired, and it wasn't easy because I suppose it was that young part of me that probably still wanted to go and use drugs and party and go out, and so I was trying to balance letting go of my childhood and letting go of you know, my friends in a sense in what direction that they were taking. And I felt the only way to stay close was to be involved in drugs in another sense.
Sure.
You know, so not all my friends, but some of my friends and a lot of my community would have used drugs.
Yeah.
So for me to remain in that community, in a sense, I decided to try and find ways to support that and to change that. And I spent a lot of time trying to understand why communities like mine had so much addiction in them.
I imagine you've seen a lot of lives destroyed.
Yeah, a lot of lives destroyed. Even I suppose in my own life. I mean, just because now I'm in the Shannon, I'm still very much integrated into my own community. I still have the friends that I went to school with, and from a very young age, you know, you get halfway through the year and you're going, oh my God, has no one died yet? You know what I mean? So I really believe that our social class is killing us, and whether it be through addiction, mental health, suicide, or even risk taking, you know, just like having so little value, I suppose, on your life or your aspirations, or thinking that you're not going to live very long anyway. So you're much more riskier in your behaviour, which sometimes can cost you your life. So both, I suppose, in my work and my personal life, death would be quite a permanent feature. So it does break my heart, but I try and use it as fuel to create change.
And do you think that change is happening?
Really small, but I'm only one person, and there is lots of other people that I work with in the Shannon that are doing the same thing, and that are looking for change. But you know, over the past 2 years, I became a story. You know, so people talk about the girl from Killinarden that became president of Trinity College Students' Union, or the girl that from a working class community who managed to get a Shannon seat on the Trinity panel. And I suppose change will only really be evident if I'm not a story. So if people don't see me as a story anymore, and it's pretty normal for someone like me to be in the positions that I'm in, well, then change is being created. I can only try, I suppose, in my little part, make some of that change, but I definitely can't completely overhaul the system to be any different.
Is there savage inequality in Ireland?
Massive. And my fear is that not everybody understands it completely. And, you know, some people come out and they will ridicule and personalise attacks on politicians when they don't understand inequality. But for me, I believe that if we've been all reared and in different situations in our lives, we're all looking at the same thing from a different view. And we need to be able to talk to each other to get people to understand. There's some people that understand privilege, and they understand how their privilege has given them an advantage. But then there's other people that have privilege and don't realise that they have that privilege in the exact same way we have oppression and inequality by moral luck, where you're born, your postcode. That's complete luck.
Can you talk me through it?
Okay.
So that, give me an example of a family or a situation, and tell me what the people in an underprivileged situation, tell me what those people go through, how their day starts and what they have to deal with.
Well, you're talking about kids that watch their parents score drugs. You're thinking of children that have had to witness their father batter their mothers to a pulp first thing in the morning. And then they have to go to school and they're expected to learn. They're expected to be able to sit in a classroom and give a shit about maths and Irish when they've just come with a school bag full of trauma into that classroom. You know, so I could give a million examples, but I suppose I'm hesitant to and afraid to, I suppose, because I don't want to hit on anyone's real story and for them to be thinking, oh, you know, is she talking about me here? And I suppose that would be unfair. Working class families are often seen as, they don't care about their child's education. Yeah. But if you're a working class mother, your sole thing is that your child doesn't enter criminality, doesn't end up in addiction, doesn't end up leaving school at 12 and going off and robbing cars and shops. You know, how can you care about the Leaving Cert or third level education when you're just trying to get your child past certain milestones that means they'll stay alive? You know, and I think people don't understand that we care about education and we care about our kids succeeding, but we're firefighting every day and we're firefighting really hard situations. And there's homes, you know, they talk about, you know, that there's no starvation anymore because of the welfare system, you know. But if you went into some of the homes in some of the poorest areas in this country, I mean, there's absolutely nothing. You know, to give an example, which is probably an odd example, I done a piece of research a few years back with middle-ranking drug dealers. I carried out research for a couple of years in some of the areas that kind of wasn't really spoken about. And we done research, and one young man in that research who entered drug dealing, and most of it came out was because of poverty, and they wanted to have what everyone else had. And he said that there was 10 of them in the family, and they had no cutlery. There were so many of them, and he used to have to eat his cornflakes out of the sink, and he used to put the stopper in the sink and put the milk and the cornflakes in the sink and eat his breakfast before he went to school. And the reason he first sold drugs, the very first reason he sold drugs as a kid, maybe hash or something, it was because he didn't want to wear any more hand-me-downs from all his older brothers. He was one of the youngest. You know, so when you're growing up in a situation like that, your choices can become something that the rest of society wants to look down on, but don't really understand where them choices are coming from. You know, when you have a kid that says, I just don't want to wear my brother's hand-me-downs anymore, I want my own tracksuit, you know.
Is it hope, Lynn? Is it talking about giving children hope?
It's not about giving them hope, because you can have hope for the rest of your life and still have nothing. You know, it's about giving them opportunities and access, and levelling out the playing field, and not making the likes of university and certain types of employment too far out of reach for kids from areas like mine to actually achieve, you know. Creating mentor systems. You know, I remember, and I've told a story before, when I told my mum when I was younger that I wanted to be a vet, and my mum looking at me going, oh yeah, I think I know someone that might have been a vet before, and you know, my mum racking her brain wanting to tell me what I needed to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's how little information we have. But if you're in a more affluent area, it's not only about finance or income, it's about your social and your cultural capital, connections. You know, so if I'm in a more affluent area and I go to my mum and say, I'd love to be a vet, she'll say, oh, hang on, and I'll ring so-and-so's daughter there, she's a vet, she'll, you know, maybe give you a work experience there. And, you know, working class kids don't always have those connections or that capital, you know, so it's not always only about finance, it's about connections as well. And I think we all could make an effort to integrate ourselves into working class areas and create them opportunities, and look at kids that are doing their work experience every year in the local shop, you know, when they'd much prefer to do it with an engineer, because that's what they'd really love to do if we didn't just batter the aspirations out of them.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynn Ruane.